welcome back to the Truth is podcast. Of course, you're joined here by your host, and we have a special guest in house today. So, of course, I'm your host, Bri,
Dru, and
and our
this
special
is
guest is.
Sashane.
Yes, so
Sashane.
welcome, Sashane. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of our podcast. Of course, this is The Truth is where we tackle the truth, no matter how deep, obscure, or taboo it is. So let's dive right into it. We have to shout out our sponsors, of course, Geek Media and Exclusive Experiences Jamaica. Check out them on social media. Geek Media is responsible for all our printing, digital media needs. Exclusive Experiences is where you can go to have all your events planned, whether that's corporate or a birthday party. It doesn't matter how small or big. Check them out on Instagram. We're aired on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on all our socials. So check out the Truth is Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify for podcasters, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Let's get right into navigating reality, a part of our mental health discussion. So, diving right into it. Drew, what we did the last week again? But remind the people then to that.
right. So we're there to talk about mental health, right? This is Men's Mental Health Month. So we're talking about all the stuff relating to depression and anxiety and OCD. It was really fruitful. I'd say, right?
I think it was a really good discussion. I think I liked how we kind of, for the viewers, navigated like several factors of like the mental health scope, and we have Dr. Sorry, I said Dr. Sashane, but you know it's just not made a reality yet.
Yeah.
It's not made a reality yet, but it just is coming right through Dr. Sashane. So stay tuned for that. We'll give you the 411 on that update. But I loved how we spoke about it in a bit of detail, and I hope you guys got something from that episode. And of course, you can always reach out to us in order to find ways or channels or avenues as to help you navigate your mental health illnesses or disorders. So yeah, today we're talking about navigating reality with mental health. And of course, we're rather professional. So I'm gonna read a little intro because we're a professional.
I trained
Our professional past set, and I just me and you again. So we have to make a note that this is legit. The truth is, we're proper. We're teeing up, not Lily.
That isn't.
So, Sashane Murphy holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Guidance and Counseling from the Michael University College, coupled with certification as a mental health advocate by the American Association of Christian Counselors. Alongside her academic pursuits, Sashane also has a diploma in makeup artistry. Face angle.
Yeah. We can see that one.
We can see that. That one did obvious. Yeah. But she enjoys listening to audiobooks, refining her makeup skills, and engaging in worship. Ooh, we love a good worshiper around here. So she's guided by Proverbs 3, verse 5 to 6, which is her philosophy in life, which says it centers on trusting in divine guidance for both personal and professional endeavors. She, of course, serves also in Wafif Counseling Center and is the Wafif Counseling team member assigned to Wafif Kingston. That's our church. We go there. I mean, visit, segue. This is just this is not sponsored, but Wafif Kingston, you can sponsor us if you want to.
If you want to.
But visit Wafif Kingston. It is a vibe over there. You know, that's our church. So,
amen.
Yeah, I mean, pick up Wafif HQ too. Can't left out our father church. Can't left out our original OG church. I mean, yeah. So let's get right into it. Drew, let's start talking about defining that and what does navigating reality mean in the mental health.
All right, so we talked about escapism in the form of anxiety in the last episode. So we know that's a common form of how people choose to cope with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So we wanted to ask you, how would you define escapism?
All right, so I realize you mentioned that they chose anxiety, right? And just bear with me. I don't believe it's a case where they chose anxiety, right? I mean, that's something that comes on you.
Yeah,
no
like
invitation whatsoever. It just comes on you. For, of course, various reasons, right? All right, so escapism. I pronounce the word correctly.
It's right.
All right, you want me to give an explanation as it relates to
let us know what it is and why people choose that as a we're talking about navigating reality. So people do choose escapism as a kind of way to navigate or pull themselves out of what they're going through there.
Yeah, right. And that, for me, it comes natural, right? To pull on things that would distract you from the pain or from whatever is causing you to having to face whichever issue with relation to the whole mental illness and so forth, because that's what we're on, right?
Right.
All right, good. So escapism, so it can be defined as doing activities, engaging in activities to distract you. I believe I said that just now.
Yeah.
Right? From having to face the
reality,
right? The reality with issues and having to overall navigate the whole issue and scope, as you say. Yeah.
Right. So it is really interesting. But what are some common forms of escapism? Like what would you say?
Especially for young people.
Yeah.
So especially
TikTok.
for young people,
Social
right?
media.
So right there.
I mean, you want my shirt?
Media.
Because I can give you my shirt.
I'm just saying.
You have to drag it.
Social media, right? I believe that's the number one form of escapism, right?
Yeah.
They look forward, especially for the children, towards video games, they play this whole thing, and I'm not trying to say anything bad, just putting that out there about the whole thing to do with once again. It's a trending these days, Minecraft,
Roblox,
yeah.
right. And again, I'm not trying to bash it or say anything bad about it, but I find that the children, they are hooked on that thing.
Oh
So
my
the
God.
things that they are faced with in the home, that's where they go.
The
right?
truth
Social
is,
media and a whole. You see people, I don't want to use terms like bum rushing but you see people hooked on the internet. That's their way of coping, right? They're not dealing with whatever is affecting their mental health. And I believe, I don't want to stray, but I believe it's a situation where, number one, they don't understand mental health and they don't understand mental health issues. They just don't, right? So I believe it's a case where ignorance comes into play.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Also, I believe it's a case where they just don't know how to navigate certain issues, right? They don't know.
So it's like
right?
a form of lack of knowledge that leads to why they do it.
All right, so let me not stray. Let me continue on the form, right? You have, I'm not remembering the term correctly, but it's something to do with, I think it's retail therapy.
Yes.
Where persons, they shop, they do certain things like that, right? To help. And I'm guilty. I see Brittany, that's the name. I see Brittany moving her color. I'm guilty. I was guilty.
Okay.
Let me make it clear. I was guilty.
We have been delivered.
Shopping, dressing up.
So
Yeah, that's trying to
explain that a little bit to me, like, because I'm not a, I guess men probably wouldn't do it as much. Well, but maybe. But
right. And,
You should
and
try
since
it.
we're in, and
the
since
buying
we're
and spending money, I got like that deplete my
I mean, the
mental
money
health.
comes back, guys. Spend the money.
Since we're on the whole
So,
thing with
don't
it's what once again men's
Men's
mental health
Alright,
month,
so-
yes.
and it's just since lately I've been discovering some stuff. Sometimes you see men act a certain way, especially within a culture where they're just not enough to build themselves to function as men.
Yep, that's so true.
And so they start to do certain things, right? To
Substance
cover up
abuse,
exactly. Crime, substance abuse,
Some person become addicted
malfunctioning
to the
within the
gym.
home. It's
Yep.
a case, it's much bigger than just, okay, they are faced with having to deal with mental health issues, right? It's a case where they are pushed and they don't even know. Men were called to function a certain way. Even not even just men, little boys. Within the whole male gender, they were
Right.
called to function a certain way. And especially within certain cultures where certain resources, certain things, certain teachings, etc., it's just not there
Yeah.
to help them to function within the way they were called to. And so they resort to certain things, right? And which you could call avoidance. They just resort
Right.
to certain things to avoid what they are having to deal with on the inside.
So going back to the ignorance, it's really because they're not at the state where they can define what's happening to them. They just know it's a negative experience.
Precisely.
They'll try to go into these alternate realities like Roblox, because it is really, and I never know it's so far Roblox. When I was growing up, Roblox was like a little video game, but now it's like
no, it's a
GTA,
thing.
but pixelated form. Just like Minecraft is like a whole world that you can literally have a
Can
your
we-
character live through.
Can we play on that? Like, do you see what the game is literally called? Minecraft.
And I literally did not
Like-
Actually, mine.
like that until now.
Like, just meds that, guys. Mind.
It's a bit, no, it's not mind, you know, it's
Craft.
mine. So it's like mining.
Oh, you're
like digging.
mining.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Minecraft.
I thought it was,
No. It was mine.
It ends with an E. It's
Yeah.
E.
It's E. So
Oh.
it's really a building game. So you go in there and build. Like, I don't know if you ever play like
I mean, Brittany's still not far off.
Not far
Mine.
off.
What's mine?
Because I mean, if you're mining, you're still
Exactly.
digging.
you're building
So
what are
another
you
world.
digging in?
You understand?
Yeah.
And I think that's like a huge play on words that we can like, because it's not just that for adults. Whereas men will more like do Minecraft or Roblox, women are addicted to Sims.
Sims. And it's the same
Sim
concept.
is the same
But more
concept.
glamorous, yeah.
And I can personally talk about that. Like, I can personally talk about, I remember having, when I was a child, so much was going on, and it was just such an unstable place for me that I used to play virtual realities. Like, it's a game where you build your family up, and you literally have to check in with them every day because they can starve.
Yeah.
And they can actually die if you don't check in with them. So you have a whole character, you name them, they go to work, they earn money, you build your
Get
house,
married and one
you get
brother.
married, you have babies, like all of those things. You're building this connection in a virtual space that completely takes you away from your reality. And it was a form of escapism for me as a child without even realizing what it was. Like, without thinking that deep, without knowing the P's and Q's of it. It was a form of escapism for me. And I think, like, as you said, there are so much different types. Retail therapy is one of them. Physical activity is one of them. I know that escapism can be positive too and negative because, for instance, we have media escapism where people turn to the media, but you can use that and then actually start a whole social media campaign and actually start like producing, these videos or sharing your experiences so that it helps others. Yeah, so it's just like we were saying earlier, with the fact that there are different types of escapism or
Forms. Yeah.
forms of
Forms,
escapism
yeah.
that we take on. You spoke about retail therapy earlier. We spoke about media escapism. We mentioned substance abuse and things like altering your reality or trying to, go into a different reality, like daydreaming.
That's the escape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then there are also like the positives that we can use it to spin, or people do spin it into a positive thing depending on the habits that they choose to take up. Because of course there's no substance abuse that's positive. Like you cannot spin that. You cannot spin that no way, no how. So you cannot spin substance abuse to be a positive thing. But like retail therapy, it is bad that you have to buy, spend money, which is probably horrible financial decisions. You're not budgeting. But if you can buy, and then what if something sparks in your mind in the midst of that depression, in the midst of that anxiety, in the midst of whatever you're going through, something says, maybe I can create an online store to this. Like, I bought too much, clearly I'm not going to wear all of this. So let me sell it back to my friends and so forth and so on. Or on social media, let me use my depression and create satirical videos and comedic videos and sketches. And let me share it with the world so that people can know that they're not alone. We're all going through this, but also make it kind of funny.
I believe it's something that we see in everyday life.
Definitely.
Right? Even the whole thing with turning pain into purpose. The whole thing as it relates to that. I think it's something that we see every day. So I love the fact that you said that we can look on it on the positives that can be pulled from this whole escapism.
Like, there are definitely upsides to escapism, but it all depends.
Exactly. All right. However, I mean, I want to be careful in how I put this across. I don't want to say it's the lucky ones. You understand?
Right.
But I mean, not everybody with what they are faced with end up with the
positives.
You understand? Right. And it all ties into, I believe it all ties into background knowledge again. Remember I spoke about the whole thing of ignorance. It all ties into background knowledge again. How much do people know? Right? How much, what can they really use to turn that whole pain into purpose, right?
I think it was
everybody lucky enough, say, all right, I'm go through XYZ and we can make a business out of this, or eventually they make a business out of it, they become viral, etc., right? All right, and I don't want to stray. Realize I say that a lot because I tend to, right? But for some of the positives, it's like it turned into a positive, You get to go viral or something start boom from it.
Or even from the
But
gym,
what
you
is
get a good
spreading,
body and so forth.
yeah, and that's like totally positive, right? But as it relates to the positive, that I realize you touched on things blooming, blossoming, right? But sometimes the things bloom, it blossoms. But then again, what is being conveyed from that thing that is positive to you may not be positive to others, right? So let's say you go through X, Y, Z, I decide to, and I learned about this at what would I call it? Some work, it's not a workshop, something I did where Pastor Taylor had, right?
Right.
That sometimes this person just start thinking as a result of what they're going through, and it blooming up, but it conveys the wrong message. Right? It sends across
like
the wrong thing, and
borderlining.
yes,
Wow.
and that is
not?
and that is what I believe causes the whole mental illness and not to spiral, right? Because of wrong information, misconceptions, all of that. And something I realize the wrong things tend to just go there.
Yeah.
And becomes viral, it becomes a thing, the trend.
Naturally, I
You
think
understand?
typically as human beings, we gravitate more easily to what is bad than what is good. I think it's structured somewhere in our DNA.
Yes, I
because
just wanted
can't be
to
normal.
point that out as it relates to the positive. Yes, it's positive for me, and go viral, it's anything new, right?
Pay
But
your
at
bills.
the same, your bills, all of that good thing, right? And again, I'm not trying to stray, but I just believe that somewhere that I should,
Yeah.
I think we can perfectly say it as this where is it coming from? Like you use this depression, this there are way a lot of there's schizophrenia, there's bipolar disorder. We use this form of mental illness to skyrocket into something that would seemingly be positive through the media or through physical activity or whatever. But then, as you said, there's a thin line between what is good and then what can be misconstrued as bad. And the Bible talks about that. Don't allow your good to be spoken of as evil, right? And we can perfectly say it as this: is it coming from a healed place, or is it still coming from a traumatic place? That you're producing it from.
Definitely.
Because if it's coming from a traumatic place, it will eventually show. The cracks will be there. People will see that, this is funny, this is cute, but this is also kind of helping me to be depressed.
Some of the times, people just, that's it. People are being depressed from it, but it's a case where they're not really cognizant that, hey, it's
like a small burst of dopamine for the moment.
Alright, so one of the biggest things, like I love where the conversation went, because one of the biggest examples that I would say now is with sports people. Like I know a lot of people that made it in sports because of their situation in the city, like the inner city situation. I'm nervous, but the situation in the city is totally not favoring their family economically, and the only form of escapism that they have is
play
through
some football,
sports. You know what I mean?
like
Tracks
some
or
basketball.
exactly right.
Yeah.
And what that does is that is the drive that they use to put into this the sports, right? I know, sir. There's a lot of success stories coming through that, right? That's a part of my story in a sense, in terms of not really.
Okay, then Pele. All right, then Messi.
not really because of the any inner city situations, but I think God exposed that to me in a sense where why is almost like why do you want to be successful at this,
Right.
So a lot of people fall in love with sports because that's the only joy that they really have in them home, right? When they used to play football or them play cricket with them uncle or whatever. But it becomes unhealthy, and where a lot of people crash out is where you have something like an injury and you know that that's something you can't control. You get me? So
or even like just simple something like bodybuilders, you exercise until it becomes toxic. Until it's a strain on your body. Like it's too much now. There's no balance in it.
Exactly. So you have to get better at this thing because you love working out so much and love seeing the gains and whatever, you start taking steroids, it becomes detrimental to your health, right? So if you do have the right route, like even the forms of escapism that you have, if you do have the right route, it would bear fruit, yes. So you have positive results,
but for a limited time.
but
like how long are you
how long is it going to last
before the fruit rottens?
Exactly.
Let's talk
So it's
about
like
that.
aki, you know the aki that if you
Yeah.
have a force ripe aki, you know, so it can be poisonous too. So like, yeah,
Yes, you get the acne, but at
exactly.
the same time.
It tastes good, but then
Yeah.
you're fraud of it.
So I think, like, to summarize that for our viewers is to say, yes, you can use coping mechanisms that can torpedo or skyrocket or escalate into something really positive and great. But you cannot keep pulling from a place of negativity for a production to be positive. The root of the plant cannot continue to be toxic in order for you to get positive gains in the produce, in the effect, in the media, in the whatever you're doing. Is it sports? Is it, even if you're playing a game, you can become a great video game player. You can get paid for that. But you can't keep pulling from a negative place as you're leveling ground. Like, oh, I started this because of this, and I have to keep depressed because being depressed is what motivates me to do this. No.
Yeah, a lot of artists.
Eventually, you have to see. For sure. Let's talk about it. The truth is. The truth is. But eventually, you have to seek healing. You have to seek help. You have to dim the line between what I started this out of versus why am I continuing this. It becomes a question of, am I still pulling from my pain or am I navigating to purpose?
And one of the biggest things is even with the artists, like the fans or the fruit that you gain, say the followers of the fruit that you, the so-called fruit that you gain, is coming back for this product. When you do change, if you don't commit to doing it the right way, when you do,
you have to be authentic with it. You have to be authentic with that transition so that people know that, like, this is why this started. But hey, guys, my content is gonna be this.
Exactly, and then what that does is literally sever you from the fan base, because the fan base, a lot of the fans connect to you
based off the
producing out of the negative.
Yeah.
So when you change how you produce now, if you get so far, if you choose to build this mansion on the sand, as how the Bible put it. Bible is a proverb, right?
It's biblical.
It's biblical.
Mansion on the sand.
Or
on the rock.
Exactly. So if you build this mansion on the sand and then it wash away, it's not really the sand fault. It's you. It's better you build
keep on that foundation.
A little hot there before you pivot and build on a more solid foundation.
So then, we want to hear from Sashane. Like, do you have experience with using escapism even before you became knowledgeable on it? I think that can help our viewers to understand. Like, I was still in this space, but I could actually sever the ties based on how willing I was to change, how willing I was to change myself, how much I wanted to come out of this space. So let's know about that.
All right. So of course, I've been there. But to be honest, I'm not sure I'm ready
to talk about
that. Disclose what was.
That's okay, girl. That's your truth. That's your truth. That's fine.
What I escaped with, right? And of course, as we've been saying, escape route, they can look positive, but for long, right? And that's exactly what reached me, right?
Like, for how long?
Wasn't for long, right? I think it was helping, but it was not. And like I said, I'm not so ready to disclose that yet. You understand? But after a while, I had to learn, and it was rough. It was tough, right?
Talk about it.
I had to learn that, and this is how I become. I fell in love with the whole mental health thing, right? I had to learn that mental health, it is so personal. It's a personal thing, right? My mental health, it's about me, right? I had to learn that I was born with mental health. It was perfectly fine. It was good. That's another thing. When they talk about mental health, people start thinking. I think, based on what I've heard, they have misconceptions of it, clearly. Bad thoughts of it. Mental health, just the term.
It's just really taboo.
Mental health, it's a good term. It speaks of your mental well-being. You understand? And so I had to learn that, hey, remember the days when you were happy and all of that. I had to go way back. You understand? I mean,
So you were crafting your mind.
And find the source of
precisely.
it.
Right. All right. I
Yeah.
had to learn again. I had to learn that mental health. Sorry, why the tongue twister? Mental health is personal. I had to, go back and see what affected my mental
Yeah. What
health.
caused this to
Yeah,
become
the
out of
source.
balance or
Exactly.
like
What
Mm.
the
damaged it?
scales to
Because
tilt?
the state that I was, it was damaged. I can say that much. Right. I had to, go back and I started to tackle what I found out
Like one by one.
one by
Step by
one,
step.
step by step. You're flowing on
That's a
one
good.
by one,
That's
step
a
by
good
step.
callback to
You
last
understand?
episode. Too.
Yeah, for sure.
I had to find out really what damaged it, right? And what I can say this much. I'm I'm I think it's safe to say I'm back to perfection. I have mental health now, good mental health. It's good, perfect, right? And I can say that much with confidence because that's how I feel. I know, right?
Right.
People, it's a case where people know, people know when something is off, right? In therapy, they teach us that the aim is always to get the client to take responsibility for what they're going through, right? Only you know the extent to which your mental health is damaged. I can't tell you that. Like I said, it's a
Right. You
personal
can't
thing,
dictate it to people.
right? Like I said, it's a personal thing, right? People know. But like I said earlier on, when we just started to talk, it's a case where they are ignorant. They're ignorant as it relates to
Seeking the knowledge, going
backtracking,
on.
right?
How to
They're
reach back to the
ignorant as
source.
it relates to
Also helping themselves.
exactly.
Like it's how much do you really want this? You know, because people are willing to go just talking about like even last episode where we talked about challenging your mind. Like your brain is adaptive. It will feed on what you tell it.
Exactly.
And so the willingness of your mind and that comes into like, you know, like how do I say it? It comes into communion or connection with your
become
spirit.
one with your mental
And it
health
says,
that
you
you
know
were
what?
born with,
I'm
right?
going to go back to this place. I'm going to seek help. I'm going to do what I need to. I'm going to get up. I'm going to go on a run. I'm going to, whatever it needs to be. And that is what helps it to torpedo from escapism into actual, driving purpose, navigating reality.
Exactly.
So do you have any like tips and probably helplines, any resources that our viewers can use to like help them?
Right. So tips. Like I said, you were born with perfectly fine mental health, right? Find out how you can tackle what affected your mental health, right? You know. What I can also say is this scripture is jumping out at me. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 that speaks that tells
We
us
love the Bible
that
around here.
that
We do.
tells us that I don't know what again. That tells us that God has not given us a
Spirit of
spirit of
fear, but
of
one of power, of love, and of a sound mind. Which
I
means you were born
remember
with a sound mind.
precisely that's where I'm going to. I remember reading that scripture after years of hearing it, and that's the thing too. Some things or most things become cliche to people. It's
Until
a
they are
case
going through
where
it.
they hear it,
Yeah.
they hear it, and they think they know it, but they don't know it. Right?
The
The Bible says that there's
revelation.
nothing new under the sun.
And it
Right?
also tells us
And I
that
had to
you can't say you know something if you don't know how to apply it.
exactly.
Application is what makes knowledge profound, not just having it.
I had to revisit those stuff. Just like I had to track back and see what affected my nice, good, perfect mental health that I was born with. I had to backtrack on certain scriptures, dig deeper. You understand? And I'm telling you what helped me. Right? And when I read scriptures like those, revelation hit like, okay, God gave me a sound mind. Right? When we
So
talk
where did it
about
go
us,
wrong?
what went wrong? I was born with this, right? When you talk about sound mind, balance, being able to live a fulfilled life, that's what having a sound mind does. And that's what I had to learn, right? And I had to learn how to maintain my sound mind, right? The thing is this, and I think Jamaica on a whole, Jamaica, culturally we weren't taught the importance of keeping your mental health or maintaining it,
Yeah.
right? Yes, we get up every day and we know, say, all right, you have a beard, brush your teeth, it shows you dress up nice and all of that.
Forget it.
We weren't taught about engaging in things or activity to keep the mental health before it starts to get bad.
Yeah.
Right.
And
then while
when
it
it
is,
starts to get bad and things, it becomes damaged and all of that, that's when we try to do what we really don't know.
so then you're saying like,
How
okay,
to-
people are typically reactive. So it's like we wait until it gets to a point, then we react versus being proactive when we see that it's
Proactive.
deteriorating.
Precisely.
So
well said.
we definitely want to also highlight like, because we have non-Christian and Christian views. So even for persons who don't read the Bible, what would you say are some things that they can use to like navigate that space, or like materials, or if it's community, to help them like get back to that?
All right,
What is your comment?
persons who don't use the Bible, right? I would say start using the Bible. You understand? I mean,
You heard it here first,
I cannot
folks.
go around what helped me.
Yeah.
I would never dare do that.
The truth is,
You understand? Start reading the Bible.
start reading your Bible.
I can't say anything else more than that. But in being fair, because you have to help some persons. But not
Right.
everybody.
Not everybody's gonna get up and open a
revelation
Bible.
and all these nice stuff to help themselves, right?
Right. Not everybody believes. So.
Find out about certain things that you like, right? Do certain things, dress up, because that's what helped me at first to some extent before, the Bible started helping me. You understand? Find out certain things that you like. Some person genuinely, like exercising, swimming, etc. Do what you like, right? And be cognizant of where you are mentally.
Right.
Be cognizant. You have to be cognizant,
Right.
Think about it, man. Test yourself. Evaluate yourself. I do that a lot.
I think you also
in
have
my
to picture
everyday
yourself.
life and in my different relationships.
Yeah.
Picture
yourself above like where you currently are. That is something that helped me. Especially for like persons who either you're backsliding or you just totally don't believe. That's okay. Like, we're not saying subscribe to this belief because this is what we believe.
Exactly.
All right, because we were not forced into Christianity. I was not. I did not grow up with this household of faith, and I wasn't forced into it. So I want to encourage you. You're not forced into this. You're not forced into having this one direct mindset, because that may not seem like the right way to you. But I'm not even gonna say like, oh, experience your own truth. What I will say, because that's dangerous to tell people experience your own truth. I'm not gonna tell you that. I would say, help yourself and find others that help you. Picture yourself in a different space. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that are blocking your mind, and think of it like you're in a dark room. But if you could just move around and find the switch, if you could just wait within the darkness, like stay within the darkness and move around, but you have to do something. Because lack of movement is stagnancy, and stagnancy always stinks. Like, think about a swamp. Water that doesn't move, it will stink. Right? So in the darkness, in that blockage of mind, move around that room. Try to find that light switch. It's somewhere there, whether it's on a wall or it's down low. Find the light switch, find the lamp, find the matchstick to light the candle. Start doing something and find others around you too that help you. I can say my community, my community has helped me through so much of those issues, and I don't think I would be like kind of stable without a kind of stable foundation to depend on that was not just God. Because at the time I couldn't even hear God. I didn't even want to hear God, because a part of me thought it was God's fault. A part of me blamed God. And that's just the truth. So, we have to really be real about like all of that too. But we want to thank you so much. Do you have anything else to say, Sashane? Go right ahead. No, go right ahead.
No, that's why you're here.
I want the persons to take, if nothing else, take this away, right? All right. I want for them to know that mental health and mental illness is two different things. Especially when we dive deeper into deeper issues that is under mental illness, such as psychosis and those things, right? I want them to know the difference. And I mean, when I try to sound religious, but the devil will trick you. It will trick you.
Oh yeah, there are forces out there.
All right.
That
so let's say
that.
You're sad, right? Or you have a little anxiety and so forth. I want a person to know that there's a difference between things like sadness and depression. There's a difference between anxiety and anxiety disorder. You understand? There is a difference. When they talk about a disorder, they're talking about something happening for a certain period of time and you have to talk about certain criteria. People don't know that. They feel sad and all sorts of way.
And they label
Oftentimes due to
themselves.
spiritual
Yeah,
issues,
the label.
and they use the tongue to say certain things,
Okay,
right? And it's a case where they put themselves way deeper than they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Because you're claiming this as like, I
Exactly.
am
A part of
this.
it. So
Yeah.
call back to last episode, right?
Yeah.
Find out about the trickery, you know? The schemes that the devil will pull.
And
I can't
Google
go around
things,
it. I
like,
can't go around
See
it.
the knowledge, man. We Google everything. We self-diagnose everything. If you see something really going on, ask Google long, specific questions. Trust me, they will have some knowledge on it.
Yeah.
Like Google it. If Google tells you you have cancer, it's lying. Okay? I've had a flu and Google told me I had cancer. But don't believe that, but do Google and research
So
things
it's
and seek knowledge. There are there are like hotline numbers that we will also
And
tag.
remember that you were born with mental health. Perfectly good and fine.
Right.
It's possible for you to get back to that stage. Don't be fooled. You understand? So,
We love that.
yeah.
Thank
So-
you so much. Go ahead, Drew.
Right before
Yeah.
is just to end on the note of make sure you understand
Mhm.
your problems. Understanding your problem is the first step to defeat it. So
Yeah,
you know,
right.
just like in war,
Define
understanding
defeat.
your opponent is how you defeat your
Coming
opponent.
soon.
So
Define to defeat.
right. So that's it, guys. I think that's our time today, right?
I do think that is our time. Thank you so much for shining light today. And for coming, just sitting with us, talking about this extremely, extremely important topic, especially in this month. Anything else you wanna, add to that, Drew? Thanking our host and so forth.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here or taking time with this schedule, rescheduling whatever you have to do. You're busy. So thank you so
Yeah,
much
we
for
had to
coming.
wait however long to
Yeah.
get this interview. But
So thank you so much for coming and spending time with us and
Yeah.
sharing knowledge with the viewers here. I don't know they'll really appreciate it.
of course. Also, we just want to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in to the Truth is podcast. Remember that escapism is a form of coping mechanism. It is not the only one, but we have really just sat here to try and help you to understand why you do it and what are some other forms that you can take on. Remember that even when things start out of pain, as Sashane mentioned earlier, you have to get to a place where it becomes purposeful and not just something that is born out of pain. So until next time, navigate your reality, navigate life challenges, and we hope you do it well. You are blessed and your mind is well. Take care. Just want to shout out our sponsors again, Geek Media and Exclusive Experiences Jamaica. We're not experts here. We really aren't. I mean, we have an expert sitting over here. But even as an expert, we still educate ourselves and try to become in tune with what is going on. This is not extremely sound advice. So, don't say you heard something here that you went to do. Don't do that, okay? Amen. So consult a mental health expert or, find your local therapy office or doctor for anything that you will need in that arena. And join us again next Thursday at 5 p.m. on all our socials. See you next time.